Let's try to get a little bit more concrete, to use one of your terminologies, right? I am a CEO of a company.
Mm-hmm.
I am working on a large portfolio of portfolios. This portfolio consists of 3 to 5 different programs. I've got anywhere between, in each program, 3 to 10 different projects. And I'm listening to this podcast because I feel I have the classical imposter syndrome, and I feel that which is actually a good thing. I'm asking myself, am I good enough in my function? Is my team good enough? I'm questioning our competencies because the nature of project management is chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Our emotions tell us that where chaos is, incompetence is high. That's the emotion that we have. So that's how we self-reflect. If I were to say, okay, you've got my attention. You don't have my interest yet, but you have my attention. We're going to use the classical AIDA model: attention, interest, desire, and action. We want to see maybe if we can guide people towards the action, so that they say, hey, I'm going to take action after this podcast. I like what I'm hearing. So, what would you tell if a CEO comes to you, say, listen, this is my scenario. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your approach to, or maybe I need to ask the other question, is that your classical candidate?
Yeah, of course. Very typical that what a CEO or other high-level people do are suffering, saying, okay, I'm getting stuck and I really want to move on and change things.
So one of the advantages that you can be concrete, this is they're going to be very specific. We're in a project environment, and says, well, we have a model that appeals to this. Now, if you were dealing with Siemens that works with an IPMA model, you can say, hey, we can match that. If you work with IBM that works with a PMI model, you can basically say, well, if we want to, we can basically tap into those models as well, right?
Exactly. I think that's a very important, that people are using some IPMA, PMI, or other Prince2 and other models. So I think as a supplier for talent management development, we need to respect that.
Yeah.
And not to say, okay, you need to replace it with what
I want.
So it's just like your car. You adjust the car to your wishes and not the inverse.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question, because I think IPMA began with the competency model quite a bit before PMI, right?
Yeah.
We did a presentation before this podcast that we filmed, that we kind of went through the different models. I think you began with the IPMA model because it existed beforehand.
Yeah.
And the IPMA model is broken down into 3 domains, 28 competencies. We kind of showed them beforehand. So the 3 domains are people. Makes sense, right? Because people, most projects don't necessarily fail because of process. They usually fail because of people. I don't mean that in a judgmental sort of way. It's the emotional factor, right? Then you have practice as the second domain, and perspective is the third domain. I'm respectful towards this model. I think it's great. I don't quite understand the practice and perspective. So people make sense. Practice is, it says here, the sub competencies are design of objects and benefits. So I guess practice is more the process. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's more the process. That's not what we are focusing on.
What do you focus on? So let's not lose train of thought. A CEO comes to you and say, listen, my project environment is a mess. Okay. We'll get back to this more specific model, but so he comes to you and says, our environment is a mess. What would be a step-by-step process support that you would be able to provide or initiate within the company so that they can overcome this situation?
Yeah. So basically, you want to have kind of a zero measurement in such a situation. To really about where do I stand? What are my capabilities? What are my talents? How can I develop further? How can I take out the hurdles and the obstacles that we meet? we can't guarantee, of course, success. That would be stupid to say or dishonest. So we only can support it in finding the zero measurement and to say, okay, that's where you stand, and that's how can you grow, how you can grow. Now,
so does that mean you would roll out an assessment across the whole team?
It depends what day. I mean, depends on the customer needs. So the last time we really did a complete.
Hold on, you're freezing up. Hold on.
Portfolio measurement.
Yeah.
Meaning that. Sorry. So meaning
repeat that again because your screen froze.
The program, the project manager.
Hold on, Lieven, hold on. Go a step back because your screen froze. We're gonna have to cut that out. Say it again.
So, for example, last time it was with a complete portfolio, meaning we included the director up to the project planner, project manager, and program manager. So all the different levels were included. And so what we did is then, or what we would do is is to say, okay, we look at personality and the capabilities from personality perspective, and so that's basically the being. So I really like always to have these two. The being is what you are, what you have to offer by nature, and then the doing is how you. And so the doing is measured by 360.
Okay.
If you have a element of 360 plus the underlying capability from personality, then you really can say, okay, what can you change and how much energy will it cost? Because that's key.